Hello, good morning. Welcome to this class, this session, the first session on diesel engine diagnostics. Today we're going to talk about the study case of one specific component of an diesel engine, which is a turbocharger. The turbocharger, exactly the case study is focused on the turbocharger boost sensor performance. Remember that a turbocharger is very important component. Supercharger, we can find superchargers or turbochargers on a diesel engine that basically provide more power to the engine. It's basically that. Nowadays we have even smaller engines, diesel engines that are smaller, not so heavy and stuff, that can have or can provide more power, right? And it's not necessary to have a very big engine. Basically, the very big difference between a diesel engine and a gas engine is maybe, or automotive engine, is basically the difference is basically the torque that is produced by the diesel engine. Of course, we're not cover on this class and in this course is out of the leak of this course. It's not part of the course to talk about those kind of specific issues, but it's basically that diesel engine have more power. More torque, actually generates more torque because the construction itself, the design of the engine is very different. So, but it has maybe more torque, but doesn't provide a lot of power because of if you check an engine or a car or an engine is tested on a dynamometer, for example, you're going to have a graphic that shows you the torque that is produced and also a curve that shows the horsepower, so you're going to find out that the torque is heavy in a diesel engine, but maybe it doesn't get a lot of power, right? But basically this is the main issue and main difference. So my name is Cesar Cardenas, I'm in charge of this class. That is part of the specialization on heavy truck mechanics. I'm a mechanical engineer and also a master of engineering in mechanical engineering. So we're going to start today. I'm going to start a little bit earlier. The class was scheduled at 11. We are starting, that's 5 minutes behind. 5 minutes fast. This is a case study. Is basically that. I'm talking about this component that is right here. You have a turbine and a compressor, right? If you have heard something about, based on my experience of them in the field, you have heard something about boost engines, for example. What you have here is to take the exhaust gases, that move spin wheel right here, compressor and stuff like that, and it just puts more air into the engine, right? More air into the engine in order to get more power. This is basically the main issue of this. This graphic right here shows actually all the different variables that you can find that are involved actually here in this process. You have temperature pressure and differential, temperature differentials and pressure differentials, and some of the electronic components that are also here, controlling of the circuit, all the system here. Of course, it produces a lot of heat. That's what we have here, an intercooler, right? Just reduce the temperature of these gases, that are compressed right here at high pressure. And in order to put them also back into the engine to get more power is basically the function of this. And here we have a DPF. This is diesel particulate filter. This is a very important component nowadays. What it does right here, this is just a component that is part of the emission control systems. The emission control system is actually this is diesel particulate filter. Is part of the control emission system, and it's just to clean the gases, the exhaust gases before it goes out of the atmosphere, or the gases that go out of the atmosphere. So that's basically the function of this part. The other things here are just EGR valves, also as well is this exhaust gas recirculation valve, right? That is part of this DPF, and these components right here are part of the emission control system that. In the previous class, a part of the general diagnosis class, I mentioned something about the emission control system and how the way they monitor this is going to be a discussion on another class. But this is pretty much the turbocharger here is just to put more air into the engine, because remember that an engine just sucks and so on, gets air. more air and a better next to right here is gonna be, it's gonna be, let's say, the result is gonna be more power. So the condition for running the DTCs, for this case of the DTC that we are getting here in this study case, remember that you just plug your scan tool through the 16-pin connector, right? Imagine that you have a driver or a concern, of the driver is concerned about a check engine light on. You retrieve the DTCs to the scan tool, to the OBD2 port. Diagnostic tool code is P0236. Remember that P means powertrain, that is referred to a powertrain. The DTC is referred, or is related actually to a powertrain problem. A powertrain problem, because we have DTCs that can be P or V. That's going to be actually one of the activities that the tasks that you are going to be developing during this course. These different DTCs, the idea is to identify what it means, what a P DTC means, what a B DTC means, or and that's going to be your task. You are going to find out about that. But in this case, for this example, for this class, we are going to talk about a study case that reports a P0236 DTC, which is related to a turbocharger and is part of the powertrain system. So the condition for running the DTC is that the ignition has to be on, engine is off. When the ignition is on, engine speed is between 400 and 6,000 RPMs. Engine coolant temperature is -7 to 125 degrees Celsius, and the DTCs that are related to this could be P06, 106 or 107 or 108, P0236, 7 and 238. But we have here this one, right? So it's related, involved in this problem. Air temperature is between 20 and -20 and 125 degrees Celsius, and the DTC is continually present in the above conditions are met. So if these conditions, are met, all these conditions, the variables are met, the DTC is still present there. So now we have a problem. We have to check and to check what is going on here, but we already know that it's related to some kind of a boots problem related to the turbocharger. So this is a study case. The conditions for setting the DTC, here the DTC is present, the ECM, the electronic control unit detects that the boost pressure sensor signal is not within the derived of a condition from the engine speed barrel sensor, valve sensor, throttle position, the turbocharger pressure sensor while it is running. So I mean that the electronic control unit of the engine detects that the boost pressure sensor signal is not mainly into the ranges. Remember that a signal sensor, this is a very important thing, because when you are doing some kind of troubleshooting issues on an engine, and depending on any system, you have to have very clear information on what the voltage signal value is. What the voltage could be between 4, 5 volts or 12 volts is going to depend. For example, based on my experience, when we work with some Caterpillar engines or something like that, maybe could be 12 volts, the voltage signal. So it's going to depend on this. So we have, of course, information that is going into the ECM from the engine speed, from the barrel sensor, is a pressure sensor, or from the MAF sensor, that is a mass airflow sensor. The throttle position, let's go back right here a little bit. I'm not used to it, but the throttle position is right here, right? But it's the exhaust, but the throttle position, it could be, but it's not here, it could be right here, something like that. The throttle position center, at least for this example. And here we have, or the ECM detects that the boost pressure signal is less than 50 kilopascals on one side. The ECM detects the boost pressure signal is less than this. But actually, maybe the ECM is not detecting a pressure value, it's detecting some kind of voltage signal, right? That is traduced or translated actually into the pressure value, right? Or the ECM detects that the pressure difference. So if all these things are present, so you have this problem. Or the ECM, electronic control unit, detects the pressure difference between MAF and barrel is less or equal to 10 kilopascals. I mean, this is the difference between the pressure sensor and the barrel sensor is less or equal to this value. So in other words, there are many differences between the operating condition of the engine at this point. So the difference between the turbocharger pressure and MAFs is greater than 10 kilopascals. and the difference between the turbochargers and the barrels is greater than 10 when the engine is on, but it's not running or it's not rotating, right? So there are differences between pressure, between actually all the pressure sensors involved in the system. So if it detects all this kind of, is maybe all the pressure values are out of the range specified by the manufacturer, so maybe you get this DTC, right? And of course, based on this, on all that information, it's clear that, remember the first graph, the first diagram at the beginning of the first slide, that we have here different variables in both. As I mentioned, we have temperature, pressure, basically those, airflow of course, but you have basically those variables in both. So based on that and all the symptoms that are present at this point, in this case, this strategy for troubleshooting process is set up or recommended. If disagree, refer to. What it means is the circuit, 12 position sensor 1, and we have two different, in this system, two different 12 position sensors. You know, you have a circuit, operating condition, the engine is operating with the throttle closed, in all accessories are off, infotainment basically, on other lights, you know, air conditioning, all those accessories are off, so we have any load on the engine. The parameter normal range, and this is what I have mentioned before, here we have basically a signal voltage range. So the parameter normal range, the 12 position sensor, is between 13.7, this is sensor 1 is 3.7, I mean 3.75 to, between these ranges 3.75 to 5.7, 4.75 volts. This is the voltage signal. That when you check the 12 position sensor, the voltage signal should be between these ranges, right? Because this is the voltage reference voltage. Always when you do diagnostics of stuff, you have to have very clear information on what the voltage signal voltage is and the voltage reference is, because when given by the manufacturer, normally that could be 12 volts, but in this case no. In this case we have these kind of voltage ranges. The signal, so all the voltage signal are between just basically 5 volts. 5 volts. The second 12 position sensor, we have the pressure, the operating condition, the engine is operating with the throttle closed, and the same condition here, all accessories off, we have any load, you know, parameter normal range, but here we have a different voltage range or voltage signal right here, right? So we have between 37.5 or to 4.75, and here we have in sensor 2, normally the system have two throttle position sensor, we have 0.45 and 0.9 volts, even we have even less than 1 volt, right? Well, so disagree, refer to this, right? So if all the parameters, let's say go back here, see all these kinds, you want to agree with this, see all these conditions are not present, right? Go to this or this. If we are checking 12 position 1 or 12 position 2. Right. Diagnostic strategy. So the actions, you know, that can be taken, verify if the DTC, this one is not set, so it means that, remember that here I'm not used to doing this, but just to make it clear, we have here, what we have here is this DTC, but it could be generate another one, right? So if there is just one, but if this is also present, you have to refer to this reference circuit, right? Because if you have also this DTC present, you have to check reference circuit 1 and 2. If it is this present as well, you have to go to circuit 3, and if it is this is present as well, you have to reference circuit 4, you know, and to check if these voltage signals are there, if they are between the ranges. Remember that always the information that is being sent to the ECU, you know, is a voltage signal that has to be checked, of course, and has to be between the ranges, right? So we have here some diagnostic data. We're going to go over this very quickly and try to summarize of this. Is the check the identical vehicle, customers understand the system, explain operation to the customer, you know. This is basically just to try to reproduce the flow and to understand what is going on with the car, understand, verify the customer concern, what you have to verify, actually, to reproduce the fault, that you can operate in as design. If it is not, you have to preliminary check visual and operational inspection. Maybe some kind of noise. Remember that a turbocharger produces a specific, very particular noise. And of course, you have to perform diagnostic system check, vehicle identifying category of diagnostic problem to perform. There is a wastegate valve involved in the system. Check for related bulletins with cause and preliminary information, because maybe if there is could be a service bulletin, a TSB, is a technical service bulletin, TSB, right? There maybe the manufacturer can say, yes, we have had this kind of problems on other models of this, on other turbochargers or other models of the heavy trucks, for example, that are manufactured by us. Oh, we recommend the trouble in the, the technical bulletin to do this, this, and this stuff. On current DTC, follow DTC diagnosis, so you have to follow protocol recommended. Symptom, no DTC, but if you have just the symptom, but you have DTCs, just follow symptom diagnostics, no published diagnostics, right? So analyze, develop diagnostics called technical assistant. It means that normally this problem, you don't have this, you have exactly what's going on here, so you have to call the assistants. What it means is everywhere around the world, even here in our country, we have an engineer that is normally taking care of all these issues. When the technician at a workshop or a dealer cannot handle the problem, you have to get some assistant, additional assistant. That is normal. And it happens all the time. Intermittent fault, see the diagnostic detail below. It could be, if it's an intermittent fault, remember that when you have an intermittent fault, there are two different types of faults on an engine. It could be a soft fault or a hard fault, and some of them are hard fault is referred as an intermittent fault because it's present at another time and it's not present, it could be there and not there. So here, if not, this is referred to this. If this is DTC is not set, you have to do this. If not, verify. See, if it is not set, right? Verify the throttle and fault compensation parameter less than 90%, or if greater, refer to the throttle body cleaning, right? If less than 90%, I will have some problems. This is less. I have some grammar issue here. Position sensor and tool disagree parameters. So here we are talking about 90% of the throttle position. That could be open 90%, 80%, 100%, and stuff like that. So the action to be taken, verify the DTC is not set, is if so, refer to this. If this DTC is not set. If it is not set, refer to this. If it is set, do this, right? So this is the strategy, the diagnostic strategy that for this particular test is being given by the manufacturer, right? So you have to follow this. But previous this, you have to identify and try to understand how exactly the system works. And also with this chart, maybe it will be clear, no? It will be clear. Because here then after that, for example, you have the symptom, but you have the DTC, you have to isolate the root cause and then repair and verify fix, right? Or in this case, for example, this says re-examine the concern. If it is present, now you have to understand and verify the customer concern again. Understand. Keep in mind this word very, all the time, because you have to understand how the system works, right? Well, again, with the diagnostic strategy, we're continuing with the diagnostic strategy. We have the agree, refer to the battle parameters. If not, within the ranges, refer to. What it means here, if the battle parameters or the pressure parameters of this sensor are not between or within the ranges, you have to refer to these DTCs. Barometric, and to check the barometric pressure, sensor performance, and the circuits. Low voltage, high voltage, and sensor circuit if it is erratic, right? And how you do that? You refer to this table, right? You have the altitude versus the barometric pressure. So remember that this is the higher the altitude, the less oxygen. So maybe you could have a problem, but that is actually one of the jobs of the role of the turbocharger. It doesn't matter if you have a high altitude or a sea level, it tries to compensate that. So the barometric pressure is changing depending here on the altitude you are. So you have the altitude here in meters also, but in feet, and also here the kilopascals and two different, the pressure in kilopascal and PSI depending on the altitude. So you check the parameters if you know within the ranges. So about sensor performance, I do check that. There is continue with the diagnostic strategy. You have if barrel is within the ranges, right? So you check, sorry, let me go back a little bit here. If not with the range, refer to this. Change the sensor performance, change the circuits, and try of course to find the specification of the voltage, the signal voltage that have to be there, right? So if not verified, but if you check after checking all that this pressure sensor is between or within the ranges, you have to verify the map sensor, bar sensor parameters within 3 kp, 3 kilopascal, 3 kilopascals ranges, you know. So if not, refer to see after verifying the map sensor and the bar sensor parameters, if not between, if the pressure or specification is not between these, you have to refer to this. If not between these ranges of pressure, we have to refer to this, to the map sensor, which is a sensor, a pressure sensor, and if the sensor map sensor is equipped with turbocharger, which one would you choose? Of course, would you choose this one right here, because we are working with a map sensor, but on a car, on a heavy truck that has a turbocharger on it, right? So you have to follow all this, and to check the voltage reference is 5 volts. The parameter normal range of the pressure is between here in the 12 to 1025, even 225 kilopascals, and the engine running is running at various operating conditions. But you have here the voltage reference and the ranges, you know, choke to ground, open, choke to voltage. Right, this is what you have to check right here. And here we have something that's important. Analysis of sensor damage may occur. The circuit is shorted to B. So if it is shorted to something here, the internal issue or the sensor damage may occur. That's very complicated. You have to be careful with that. In this case, that's what I say. No, you have to consider all the aspects of this diagnostic strategy. So we have here 5 reference voltage, a choke to ground, 0 pascal, open, or choke to voltage, signal, and no reference. Right. So if it is equipped with a turbocharger, so keep in mind that the myself will have to be checked. Here we have different conditions, actually it's less. Here the parameter normal range is different right here. What is right here? Let me check something else here. What's called just what's called searching to an open, short to voltage, okay, on signal, right. Okay, this is just was wanted to give you some information, just some to bring you to some study case on the turbocharger. Normally, that's what we do during this class, to talk about some different study cases, right? Maybe the next class we will talk over another issue, for example, an ECU or something like that, or a PCM, something like that, to differentiate actuator from the PCU and stuff like that, and signal voltage and stuff like that. But this is was an example, right, on how a diagnostic strategy will have to be followed for this specific case. That's all. For this specific case, if you have more questions, something like that, just let me know. Just try to understand first how a turbocharger works, how a supercharger works, and that way maybe you are going to find how they are related, the circuits, you know, all the inputs and sensors that are, you know, sending information to the NEQ to send a command to other actuator like a turbocharger or something like that, and how all these behave and how it works. This is basically the idea of this class. So if you have questions, of course, let me know, and I can give you more information on this. Thanks for your attention, and have a good day. I don't know if you have any question. Hello? Hello? Hello?